And I think there's one more thing we wanted to talk about while we're on this podcast this week, which was back to our walking route. We've been walking through a blizzard and the aftermath of a blizzard all week.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, totally. So for some folks that are super keen on what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, we already recorded an episode about what it was like to be in the blizzard while it was super fresh in our minds.
Yeah, we came home after almost 11-hour day of walking through ice winds and recorded a podcast about walking through ice winds.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear all about that, yeah, we'll link to that.
Well, we're gonna include it here in a second.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Oh, wonderful. We don't even have to link to it because that would have been my job. So yeah, just stay tuned then.
That's right. But
sorry about that.
No, it's fine. We should include kind of what it's been like the rest of the week. Talk to it for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I think there are so many things that are interesting about walking around the city when there is just a metric ton of snow around. It's been interesting. You know, we did it in December when we had kind of a surprise snow at the very end of fall,
Right.
December 19th or so.
Right.
And that was fun. And the Manhattan experience of snow is pretty responsive when it comes to getting the sidewalks clean. Not the case out in very East Queens.
Yeah, as expected.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, I wasn't surprised by that at all.
And, you know, walking in the streets for the past couple of days is perfectly fine.
Right.
But it does add a lot of time. It does, our feet have been tested more than they have been tested in the past 4 or 5 months. Really, our feet had achieved perfect, symmetry with our experience. And now wearing our boots and constantly uneven terrain has been making us look forward to having this time off.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the biggest thing, wearing the boots, they're like slightly heavier than the shoes, but the boots we have are great and really like comfortable to walk in all day. But I think the biggest thing for me is that because it was such a heavy snow and such a tall snow, there's multiple times throughout the day that you go to step in the snow and then you sink in further than the boot and then snow goes into the boot. And so then like throughout the rest of the day, it's just slowly melting into like the really great insulated lining of the boot and then slowly feeling slightly damp in the waterproof boot, so that kind of thing is annoying on a short walk and just like more annoying on a long walk, I guess.
Yeah.
Not even that uncomfortable in the moment, but more like it's like it affects you the next day because then things are a little damp and your feet are getting a little blistered and.
Yeah. My feet, and to a lesser extent, Jesse's feet, look like we've been in a bathtub for 12 hours. Because the dampness, it turns into water shoes.
Yeah.
Just because the height of the snow is so significant. And it's not so bad walking on the sidewalks, even if they're not shoveled.
Yeah.
It's a little bad at the crosswalks, because that's where all the water accumulates. What was really the worst was there are just some areas that we were planning on walking that are either very rarely used sidewalks or the sides of roads that were simply just snow. And we had to walk through them for maybe a quarter mile to a half mile where there are no other footprints. And you're just, you might as well be in an open field in the middle of the country. There's no difference there.
It's funny how I guess I'm just so used to like everywhere in New York having walkers.
Yeah.
And a lot of those areas that you're talking about are kind of like when we're getting close out to Belmont and we're near Nassau County and like there aren't that many walkers and it is kind of a highway, but there's a sidewalk there.
Yeah.
And the sidewalk just isn't cleared. And I find myself being like, what, do they think no one walks out here? And like, but then like you said, there's like no other footprints. So probably no one walks out there. And that's why they haven't cleared it.
Yeah.
And they're probably dealing with the places in the city where people walk typically. So yeah, it's fine. We had a couple areas where we really had to like just go for it and like be in knee-high snow. Like every step you're like, maybe I'll float on the top this time.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Even in the moment, like that kind of like hopping through it is kind of fun. And I think the one thing that a lot of people have texted me to be like, are you warm enough? Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
And yes, like that's really been like the saving grace for this week, is that even though the snow makes it kind of hard to walk through and the feet have gotten a little bit damp, like I've felt super warm. I think we finally figured out the formula for preparing
Layers.
Yeah. Yeah, just like a lot of long underwear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd say, yeah, it's amazing how the body can acclimate to temperature. Yesterday we were finally getting out of the cloudiness and the any trace of snow coming down, and it was like 33 degrees and like 25 with the wind chill, and I swear it felt like spring. I
Yeah.
don't understand how that's possible, because 2 weeks ago the same circumstances felt very cold, but now I guess after walking through a blizzard and a couple of days are really cold,
Yeah.
it just changes your perspective.
Yeah, I think that's it. And
Yeah.
it was sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm referring to like after the sun had gone down.
Oh,
Yeah, but yeah, we were downright hot for 2 days.
yeah.
The day previous, which the first day that everything had cleared up, we were still dressing as though a blizzard was happening, so we were sweating. And today we toned it back a bit, and we kind of hit a fairly good spot.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. One last thing that I want to bring up before we go to the blizzard day. I have found myself really enjoying, uh, well, I have found myself interested and generally enjoying the etiquette that's involved in navigating these very congested sidewalks, because I really like the opportunity to either say thank you or to get out of the way for people and then see their reaction. Jesse and I were talking about this earlier today. I feel like over 50% of the people are very appreciative, and we wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to interact with them, really,
Yeah.
especially during a pandemic. People are not really inclined to smile or look at you, but you get an opportunity to show deference and like be respectful and like do a very small act of kindness to people.
Yeah.
And I feel if I find it energizing. I also find it like, well, why didn't that person? Oh, what's wrong with them?
Yeah,
Why
it's like
didn't
a
they?
weird.
Why didn't they? Say thank you. What's wrong with them?
Yeah, I feel like I don't. I feel similarly to you, and I think the times that I get the like, excuse me,
Yeah.
is when I'm like climbing into us. Like I notice like, oh, I'm wearing really good shoes and I'm also out all day, and like I don't mind like climbing into the snow to
Yeah.
let this person go by, because I see that they're like not wearing snow boots or something, or like have like a lesser pair of boots on, or you
Right.
know. And then they don't even acknowledge that I've like climbed into the snow.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing if I'm just like waiting at the end of the trail, I like whatever, either say thank you or don't. I like, who cares?
Yeah.
But when I've basically just like thrown myself in front of a car or something, I'm like
Right.
jumping out of the way, and like my feet are getting wet.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, all right, well, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Like, what did I do that for?
Right. Yeah.
But it is, I mean, it's kind of a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get some really interesting reactions from people. People you
Yeah.
might not expect reacting nicely. People you
Yeah.
expect reacting nicely, not acting in any way. So
Yeah. I also really like the there's something about the heavy snow that just, it does kind of like bring people together in a way. I like seeing someone shoveling out their car and making eye contact with them, and like they know that you see them, and they're like they're exhausted and you know they're exhausted and you're like thankful you don't have to do that, and you give them like a knowing smile and they're like, oh yeah, like they're like, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Or
That's
then you
fun.
like see them again later and you're like, you're still at it, good luck, and
Yeah.
they're like, ah.
We had an interaction with the pair of guys that were throwing snow off the roof
Oh
earlier.
yeah.
And, just, hey, good luck. Thanks for not throwing snow on us.
Yeah. There were also some guys throwing snowballs across the street,
Yeah.
across a really big, like busy, I think on Jamaica.
Yeah.
And they like stopped when they saw that we were going by, but
Yeah.
they could also see that I was like, are they going to throw snowballs at? And they were laughing. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's just fun. It's like, I guess because we don't get snow that often. Maybe like we get it enough that we know what it is
Right.
and we like kind of know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like we also don't get it all. Like you're not gonna get a snow like this every single year.
Yeah.
So when it happens, it's like everyone kind of turns into a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, one last thing before we turn it over to what we talked about, the blizzard. I know you're all very excited. We should call out, and this might take a second to pull up, but we met a lovely woman today
Yeah.
at her shop, which was I guess both like a center for community activity and I guess a gospel shop.
Yeah, so it's called God's Gospel Cafe,
Yeah.
and her name was Sharon, and she had someone working with her called Chica. And yeah, it was really great to meet both of those people. Sharon and Chica were both really nice, and the shop that Sharon has is in Hollis.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she said she just opened it in October. There's we were walking down the street. We were actually going to go to the deli on the corner, and then Mike has been taking pictures of all the free food fridges that we see.
Yeah.
Just to document, where they are, and they're always like painted really nice and
Yeah.
yeah. So I noticed what we hadn't noticed before, probably because we were trudging through the snow, that down that street there was a free food fridge. So I
Yeah.
said, oh, Mike, let's go take a picture. And then as Mike is like getting the right shot, this woman comes to the door, and I was almost like, oh no, she's gonna like, be like, why are you taking, I was
Right.
just like ready to be like yelled at. And then it was the exact opposite experience. She was like, what, hi, like, what are you doing? What are you wearing? What are those emblems on your jacket and hat? And like, tell me about your project. And then she was so excited about our project and wanted to take a picture with us. And like, we had this really nice chat. And yeah, Chico took the picture for us. And he's a nice young man that's studying at Brooklyn College right now and helping out at the shop. And yeah, it sounds like it's a place for people in the community to come get what they need, come give what they have, and
it was
yeah,
the
learn
most
about
amazingly stocked free fridge
It
I've
was
seen. It was
crazy, yeah.
it was really impressive.
Yeah.
And they even had a pantry, like non-perishable box next to it, and
And she has a dance studio
yeah,
there, and is working with different artists in the neighborhood to really like beautify the space. And yeah, I think it's a really cool community space that we're not part of the Hollis community, so I don't know, I can't say like, oh, we're excited to have them in that area, but I assume that anyone in Hollis would be excited to have Sharon in the neighborhood because she's really just great energy. And
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And
seems
she
to really
has
care about people and care about what she's bringing.
her birthday is February 5th, tomorrow, and mine is February 6th, the day after. So that was a fun thing we shared too.
Yeah. So happy birthday to Sharon.
Yeah.
And I hope that, I don't know if anybody is going through Hollis, go check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to go stop by again the next time our route takes us through there just to say hello.
Definitely.
Because it was really positive.